This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Real Madrid clinches 15th Champions League title against Borussia Dortmund at Wembley. Real Madrid secured their 15th Champions League title with a 2-0 win against Borussia Dortmund at Wembley. The victory was hard-fought, with Dortmund dominating the first half and missing several clear chances to score. However, Madrid weathered the storm and settled into the game in the second half, eventually scoring through Dani Carvajal and Vinicius Jr. The win marks a fifth Champions League success, extending the record for coach Carlo Ancelotti. Dortmund, despite their strong performance, were unable to pull off an upset. The game also saw German legends Marco Reus and Toni Kroos bid farewell to their respective clubs. Madrid's success cements their status as one of the most successful teams in Champions League history. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Biden's ceasefire proposal for Gaza. Israeli families urge acceptance as Netanyahu hesitates. Israeli captive families are calling on their government to accept a ceasefire plan presented by U.S. President Joe Biden. The plan involves a permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from all populated areas, and the release of all Israeli hostages held captive. Hamas has indicated it is open to the proposal, raising hopes of a halt to Israel's 8-month war. However, the Hostage and Missing Families Forum believes Netanyahu may be obstructing a deal, and is calling on the citizens of Israel to take to the streets to ensure the completion of the deal. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has been lobbying Middle East leaders to gather support for the new Gaza ceasefire plan. The plan has been met with mixed reactions, with some Israeli politicians and families of captives supporting it, while others, including Netanyahu, have expressed skepticism. Meanwhile, the humanitarian situation in Gaza remains dire, with over 1 million people displaced and thousands more missing under the rubble and presumed dead. The outcome of the plan remains uncertain, with Hamas yet to make a definitive decision, and Benjamin Netanyahu making it clear that for Israel's war on Gaza to end, Hamas must be destroyed. The families of the captives are urging the Israeli government to publicly support the proposal and ensure its completion. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Campus crackdown. The high cost of protests at universities like Chicago, Vanderbilt, Harvard, and Princeton. Several college students who participated in pro-Palestinian protests are now facing the potential loss of their degrees. At the University of Chicago, 4 students have had their degrees withheld pending an investigation into a protest encampment. Similarly, at Vanderbilt University, a student was expelled following the occupation of a campus building. These students face possible expulsion, arrests, and other disciplinary actions. Despite the uncertainty, they do not regret their participation in the protests. The stakes are high, as they could potentially be burdened with debt without a degree. Students at Harvard University and Princeton University also face uncertain academic prospects as their degrees have been withheld pending investigations into protests. The disciplinary actions have left many of these students in limbo as they await the outcome of appeals processes and uncertain futures. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Boeing Starliner launch scrubbed again. Delays continue for NASA's crewed mission. The launch of Boeing's crewed Starliner space capsule was called off yet again. The planned launch was scrubbed just minutes ahead of its scheduled liftoff time due to a computer ground launch sequencer not loading into the correct operational configuration. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams were set to take the Starliner on its maiden flight, but the mission will have to wait at least another day. The space capsule was scheduled to carry the astronauts on a 25-hour flight to the International Space Station. The Starliner program has faced numerous delays and setbacks, including a failed first mission in 2019 and a series of technical issues. NASA and Boeing are working to understand the cause of the scrub and plan to announce a new launch date. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Ticketmaster data breach. Shiny Hunter's hack exposes 500 million users amidst Live Nation's legal battles. Ticketmaster, the popular ticket sales platform, is currently investigating a potential data breach that may have affected more than 500 million customers. The parent company, Live Nation, discovered unauthorized activity within a third-party cloud database environment containing customer data on May 20th. A hacking group known as Shiny Hunters has claimed responsibility for the breach and stated that they have obtained 1.3 terabytes of Ticketmaster user data, including personal information, order details, and credit card information. The hackers were reportedly selling the stolen data on the dark web for $500,000. Live Nation has stated that there is currently no evidence of a material impact on their business operations, but they are working to mitigate risk and have notified law enforcement authorities. Shiny Hunters has a history of selling stolen data from various companies, and this cyber attack comes at a time when Ticketmaster is already facing legal troubles, as the Justice Department and several state attorneys general have filed a federal lawsuit against Live Nation, alleging that the company has created a monopoly on live event ticket prices. This lawsuit has the potential to reshape the live entertainment industry and the fees associated with live events. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Mass shooting in Akron, 27 injured, 1 dead, police seek leads. In Akron, Ohio, police are investigating a mass shooting that occurred early Sunday morning in the area of Kelly and 8th Avenues. Officers responded to the scene just after midnight after several people called 911 to report shots fired with multiple victims struck. As officers were heading to the scene, hospital staff reported multiple people were arriving at the emergency rooms with gunshot wounds. According to police, a total of 27 people were shot, and a 27-year-old man was killed. 1 firearm and several dozen casings have been recovered from the scene. There are no arrests, and anyone with information is asked to call Akron Police at 330-375-2490 or 330-375-2TIP or Summit County Crime Stoppers. The conditions of the other victims have not been released. The investigation is ongoing. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Zelensky accuses Russia and China of sabotaging peace summit. Tensions rise at Asian Security Forum. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia and China of undermining his global peace summit in Switzerland. Zelensky claims that Russia is trying to dissuade other states from attending the event, while China is also actively working towards this goal. The Ukrainian president made these remarks at an Asian Security Forum, where he also mentioned that there are elements of Russia's weaponry that come from China. China has denied taking sides in the Ukraine war, but is accused of aiding Russia by sending weapon components and propping up the Russian economy. The upcoming summit will focus on nuclear security, food security, and the release of prisoners of war and Ukrainian children held in Russia. Currently, 106 countries have confirmed their participation in the summit, but Russia has not been invited, and China is not attending. Zelensky alleges that Russia and China are pressuring countries not to attend the summit, and that certain countries are assisting in this diplomatic disruption. While the U.S. has pledged to send a high-level representative and encourage others to attend, China believes that the conference should have equal participation and the recognition of both Russia and Ukraine. Zelensky also claims that China's leader, Xi Jinping, had promised to stand aside in the war and not support Russia with weapons, but there are intelligence reports indicating Chinese involvement in providing certain elements of Russia's weaponry. The U.S. has also accused China of assisting Russia in producing more munitions, armored vehicles, and missiles. This comes as the U.S. has recently lifted some restrictions on Ukraine's use of American weapons on Russian territory, a move that Russia has warned will have serious consequences. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Breaking barriers. Claudia Sheinbaum poised to be Mexico's first female president, and its impact on U.S. relations. Mexico is poised to make history by electing its first woman president. Likely to be Claudia Sheinbaum, a scientist, engineer, and former mayor of Mexico City. Sheinbaum is favored to win and become the next negotiator-in-chief with the U.S. on issues such as cross-border trade, immigration, and drug trafficking. This development comes as the U.S. has yet to elect a woman as its president. The election in Mexico is significant not only for the country, but also for the U.S. Mexico is the U.S.'s largest trading partner, and the two countries share a complex relationship. Mexico is the transit country for hundreds of thousands of U.S.-bound migrants, and it is also the source country for the fentanyl that kills tens of thousands of Americans each year. Sheinbaum, who has been leading in polls by double digits, is seen as more of a left-leaning idealist than a savvy deal-maker like her political mentor, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. She has promised to continue his agenda, including cash transfers to millions of Mexicans and measures to combat inequality. Mexican voters are concerned with economic opportunities and public safety, not necessarily with the issues that the U.S. cares about most. The election is expected to have a significant impact on the U.S.-Mexico relationship, with the next president likely to play a crucial role in shaping the future of their bilateral ties. The U.S. and Mexico have a complex relationship, with both countries having deep diplomatic and cultural ties. However, they also face significant challenges, including illegal immigration and drug trafficking. The U.S. sees Mexico as an essential partner in addressing these issues, and most Americans have a favorable view of Mexico as a partner in these efforts. The election in Mexico is seen as a significant development, not only for the country, but also for the U.S. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Caitlin Clark leads Indiana Fever to thrilling victory over Chicago Sky on Pride Day. Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark led her team to their first home win of the season, defeating the Chicago Sky 71-70. Clark finished the game with 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. The victory came in front of a sellout crowd on Pride Day at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Clark was supported by her teammates, including Kelsey Mitchell, who scored 18 points, and Melissa Smith, who had 17 points and 9 rebounds. The game featured 3 of the top 7 picks from this year's draft, showcasing the talent of the WNBA's rookie class. Clark, who lost 2 national championship games as a college player, got the upper hand against her rivals Angel Reese and Camila Cardozo. Reese finished the game with 8 points and 13 rebounds, while Cardozo made her regular season pro debut after recovering from a shoulder injury. Despite a late rally by the Sky, the Fever held on for the win, and the win snapped a 3-game losing streak for the Fever. Indiana will now visit the New York Liberty, while the Sky will host the Liberty in their next game. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024, UFC 302 recap. Makhachev submits Poirier. Strickland edges out Costa at Prudential Center. The UFC 302 event took place at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, featuring a stacked card with several high-stakes matchups. The main event saw Islam Makhachev defend his lightweight title against former interim champion Dustin Poirier. Makhachev dominated the fight, submitting Poirier via Darce choke in the final round. This marks Makhachev's second successful title defense. The co-main event saw Sean Strickland face off against Paulo Costa in a middleweight bout. Strickland secured a split decision victory, with 2 judges scoring the fight 49-46 and 50-45 in his favor. The preliminary card featured several exciting bouts, including a unanimous decision win for Basile Hafez over Mickey Gall, and a submission victory for Jailton Almeida over Alexander Romanov. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Death of serial killer Robert Pickton following prison attack, unraveling the case's impact on Canadian society and criminal justice. Canadian serial killer Robert Pickton, who was convicted of killing 6 women and confessed to killing dozens more, has died at the age of 74 after being attacked by another inmate in prison. Pickton, known for bringing his victims to his pig farm and feeding their remains to his animals, had been serving a life sentence for second-degree murder. He sustained injuries from the assault on May 19 and died in the hospital on Friday. Pickton's case drew international attention as it became the largest serial killer investigation in Canada's history, with 65 women disappearing from Vancouver's downtown East Side neighborhood between 1978 and 2001. Many of his victims were Indigenous women, leading to accusations that the police did not take their cases seriously. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Florida Panthers superstition. Skipping the Prince of Wales Trophy touch before facing Stars or Oilers in Stanley Cup Final. The Florida Panthers have decided not to touch the Prince of Wales Trophy after winning Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Final against the New York Rangers. Last season, the Panthers touched the trophy and ended up losing in the Cup Final. This year, they wanted to try something different in hopes of changing their luck. Coach Paul Maurice seemed to remind Captain Alexander Barkov not to touch the trophy, and Barkov confirmed that the team had agreed not to touch it this year. Recent history shows that touching the trophy hasn't worked out well for Eastern Conference champions, as the past 5 teams to touch it have lost in the Cup Final. The Panthers will face either the Dallas Stars or the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Final, which begins on June 8th. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. North Korea escalates tensions with trash balloons over South Korea. Consequences loom. North Korea has sent hundreds more trash-carrying balloons towards South Korea following a similar campaign a few days earlier. The balloons, which carried cigarette butts, scraps of cloth, waste paper, and vinyl, but no dangerous substances, were found in various parts of South Korea. The military advised people to beware of falling objects and not to touch objects suspected to be from North Korea, but report them to military or police offices instead. There have been no reports of injuries or damage. The North's balloon launches added to a recent series of provocative steps, including its failed spy satellite launch and a barrage of short-range missiles launches. South Korea's military dispatched chemical rapid response and explosive clearance teams to recover the debris from some 260 North Korean balloons that were found in various parts of the country from Tuesday night to Wednesday. In a statement, Kim Yo-jong, the powerful sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, confirmed that the North sent the balloons to make good on her country's recent threat to scatter mounds of waste paper and filth in South Korea in response to leafleting campaigns by South Korean activists. She hinted that balloons could become the North's standard response to leafleting moving forward, saying that the North would respond by scattering rubbish dozens of times more than those being scattered to us. South Korea's unification ministry said North Korea must stop the provocations or face unspecified, unbearable consequences. The military has said it has no plans to shoot down the balloons, citing concerns about causing damage and the possibility that they might contain dangerous substances and the risk of triggering retaliation from North Korea. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Death penalty for Chad Daybell. Idaho jury decides fate after gruesome triple murder trial. A jury in Idaho has unanimously agreed that Chad Daybell should face the death penalty for the gruesome murders of his wife, Tammy Daybell, and his girlfriend's 2 youngest children, Tylee Ryan and Joshua J.J. Vallow. The verdict comes after a nearly 2-month-long trial that presented evidence of Daybell's unconventional spiritual beliefs, including apocalyptic prophecies and tales of demonic possession. The case began in 2019 when the children went missing, and their remains were later found buried on Daybell's property. Prosecutors argued that Daybell's beliefs justified the killings, while his defense attorney suggested that Lori Vallow Daybell's older brother Alex Cox could be the perpetrator. The jury found Daybell guilty on Thursday and deliberated for just over a day before reaching the decision. Family members of the victims welcomed the verdict, describing it as the best justice they could have hoped for. Under Idaho law, Daybell can be executed by lethal injection or firing squad, although the latter has never been used in the state. The case has been marked by its complexity and the emotional impact it has had on the families involved. Daybell's defense attorney argued that there wasn't enough evidence to tie him to the killings, but the jury disagreed. The verdict brings an end to a long and difficult investigation that began with the search for the missing children. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024, Planetary Parade. Witness the rare alignment of 6 planets on June 3rd. On June 3rd, An alignment of 6 planets, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, will be visible shortly before sunrise from dark, high vantage points with minimal light pollution. Stargazers will have the opportunity to witness this rare event, although it will require the use of optical aids to view all the planets. The alignment is a bit of an illusion, given the varying elliptical paths of each planet's orbit around the Sun. However, it could prove captivating if the weather cooperates. The best viewing times will be 30 to 60 minutes before sunrise, looking east from a dark, high vantage point with an unobstructed view of the complete horizon. Mars and Saturn will be visible with the naked eye, while Mercury and Jupiter may also be spotted close to the horizon. However, viewing Neptune and Uranus will require a telescope or high-powered binoculars. Alignments of 6 planets happen infrequently, depending on the orbit and position of each planet as seen from Earth. There may be future opportunities to witness similar alignments in the pre-dawn hours of August 28 and January 18, 2025. This planetary alignment event follows recent skywatching highlights, including a total solar eclipse in April and a rare sighting of the aurora borealis in May. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. China's Defense Minister Dong Jun threatens force against Taiwan independence at Shangri-La dialogue. China's Defense Minister Dong Jun has warned that his military is ready to forcefully stop Taiwan's independence. Dong made these remarks at the Shangri-La Dialogue Conference in Singapore, where he also called for greater exchanges with the United States on the issue. China considers Taiwan as its own territory and has been angered by Taiwan's governing Democratic Progressive Party's pursuit of separatism. Dong said that anyone who dares to split Taiwan from China will be crushed to pieces and suffer their own destruction. He also called for greater exchanges with the United States over the issue, stating that the Chinese People's Liberation Army has always been an indestructible and powerful force in defense of the unification of the motherland. Dong emphasized that China is committed to peaceful reunification with Taiwan, but will act resolutely and forcefully to curb Taiwan's independence. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Netanyahu rejects Biden's Gaza ceasefire plan. Hostages, Hamas, and humanitarian crisis unfold. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a proposed permanent ceasefire in Gaza, calling it a non-starter until certain conditions are met. The conditions include the destruction of Hamas military capabilities, the release of all hostages, and ensuring Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel. This stance appears to undermine a proposal announced by U.S. President Joe Biden, which aimed to end the war and secure the release of hostages. The proposal includes a 3-phase deal, a 6-week ceasefire, followed by negotiations for a permanent ceasefire, and the release of all remaining hostages, and finally, the reconstruction of Gaza. Thousands of Palestinians have already left Rafah due to the ongoing ground assault, leading to worsening humanitarian conditions and food shortages. Families of the hostages are calling for swift action, suggesting that time is running out. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024, Chang'e 6 touchdown. China's leap on the lunar far side and the global space race. China's Chang'e 6 spacecraft successfully landed on the far side of the moon on Sunday, marking a significant milestone in the country's lunar exploration program. The mission aims to collect samples from the lunar surface and return them to Earth for further study. This achievement comes amid a growing international rivalry in space exploration, with the United States and other countries also investing heavily in lunar missions. The Chang'e 6 spacecraft landed in the South Pole Aitken Basin, a vast impact crater formed over 4 billion years ago. The mission is the second to target the far side of the moon, following China's Chang'e 4 mission in 2019. The spacecraft will spend several days collecting samples using a mechanical arm and drill, before returning them to Earth on June 25. The mission is part of China's ambitious lunar exploration program, which includes plans to land astronauts on the moon by 2030 and establish a research base at the moon's south pole. The samples collected by Chang'e 6 will provide valuable insights into the moon's origin and evolution, as well as that of Earth and the solar system. China, along with the United States, Japan, India and Russia, has made significant investments in space exploration, as it is seen as a symbol of national power and progress. Both China and the United States are vying to be the second country to send humans to the moon, with the United States targeting 2026 and China aiming for 2030. China's lunar program is a significant step forward in the country's space exploration capabilities, and marks a major achievement in the country's ambitious space program. This is the news for today, Sunday the 2nd of June 2024. Zhang knocks out Wilder. A career-turning fight in Riyadh, Queensberry triumphs over Matchroom. In a highly anticipated heavyweight showdown, Zhilei Zhang emerged victorious over Deontay Wilder, with a fifth-round knockout. Although both fighters struggled to find their rhythm, Wilder appeared uneasy throughout the fight, leading commentators to speculate about the future of his career. Despite both fighters being cautious of each other's power, it was Zhang who was able to deliver the more significant blows. While Zhang had hurt Wilder in the second round, the fight ended unexpectedly when an accidental right hook left Wilder vulnerable to a powerful face shot from Zhang. This defeat adds to a string of losses for Wilder, who has now lost 4 out of his last 5 fights. Retirement is even being openly discussed as a possibility for Wilder. On the other hand, Zhang can keep his hopes alive after bouncing back from his previous loss to Joseph Parker and securing a significant victory at the age of 41. Zhang's win contributed to a complete success for Queensberry in their 5v5 match against Matchroom, earning them $3 million in Riyadh. This victory for Zhang marks a significant milestone in his career, and it remains to be seen what the future holds for both fighters.